Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Aphrodite 5, Issue 1. This is from 2018. Writer was Brian Hill, artist Jeff Spokes, letterer was Troy Terry, cover by Jeff Spokes. I did like the cover, I thought it was pretty cool. It's an homage to RoboCop. Alright, so we start off learning that there was a terrorist attack in Los Angeles a month before this starts, and 2,500 people were killed by a suicide bomber. Well, this guy Martin wants to create a privatized police force initiative. Sounds a lot like RoboCop, but the mayor's having none of it, and the mayor's actually really funny. He starts complaining about how much this guy's entitled, and he doesn't like millennials, that sort of thing. And he basically tells him to get lost. He said, you rich kids need to know that you're at place, that sort of thing. So the guy's really annoyed by that, and he goes out, and his bodyguard's with him, and she's got like a couple scars on her face to make her look hardened or something. So Martin Carver's getting in his car when this lunatic in body armor comes up and starts to shoot at him. Well, that's when he's saved by this neo-feminist cyborg. I think she's a cyborg anyway. I don't know. But she's got the side of her head shaved and she has green hair, so I assume she's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. While she's at the police station, she talks to Carver. I guess he bribed some cops to get in and talk to her. And they connected her consciousness to self-repairing nanotechnology. And she was designed for assassination. And her looks were to make her enemies underestimate her, because people underestimate beautiful women. Okay, so there's a little bit of social messaging in here. Her creators wanted to destroy her, and she ended up escaping, and she ended up in California, like most vagrants and homeless people. She's done talking to him, so she breaks out by kicking the door in and beating the crap out of some cops, and then she runs off. Well, Martin Carver's intrigued by this, so he bribes some police officers to get this guy that was taken by this Aphrodite woman, and they refer to her as Miss Greenhair. Well, he wakes up and goes after Martin, and his security guard has to put the guy down by shooting him, and they find Aphrodite standing out by the shoreline outside of his house, and that's where the issue ends. Now, the art was actually really good overall. It's a very dark book, though. There's a lot of shading and heavy dark tones, so it's occasionally hard to kind of tell what's going on, and to me it looked like they were trying to mask some laziness by the artist, who didn't want to go to all the work to do detailing. I don't think that was the intention, but that's how it looks. Jeff Spokes, you're more talented than that. Don't do that to yourself. Lighten it up a little bit. This heavy dark tone is a little overplayed at this point. We're all kind of tired of it. And the use of color scheme seemed kind of lazy too. It looked like a money-saving technique. There's like entire pages where it's shades of green and black, and that's it. And I thought that was kind of lazy. And they do the same thing with red and black and grayscale, and it really didn't work for me in that sense. But overall, the art's not bad. The story was pretty uninspiring, though. It wasn't bad. It was just incredibly mediocre and forgettable. And that's the part I didn't like. It felt very generic. There was nothing to stand out about it. It's a storyline we've heard before. Robot becomes self-aware and decides to leave its masters. I saw that movie. It was called Short Circuit, and it had Steve Guttenberg in it from Police Academy. And honestly, that was more interesting than this was. This was just very middle-of-the-road mediocre. Now, if you've never seen RoboCop or Short Circuit or any of those movies like that where a android or cyborg goes against its core programming and becomes independent, then yeah, it would be a little innovative and maybe a little original. Instead, it was just kind of boring. They just dressed it up with some SJW stereotypes. We've got the gay black billionaire, who's a genius, of course, and we've got the green-haired warrior lady. Now, if you're trying to disarm your enemies with good looks, giving her green hair that makes her stand out really hurts your assassination attempts, because people are going to look for that. Overall, I would say it was an okay book, but I didn't really feel I got my $4 worth out of it, because the storyline just wasn't original. It felt like a couple of different movies got spliced up and mixed in. I understand that Aphrodite is an established character that existed before from some previous incarnation over at Image. I think it's part of the Top Cow universe, if I remember correctly. I'm not looking at the book right now. It felt very lazy and unoriginal. Although the story wasn't bad, it wasn't exceptional, and it wasn't memorable. memorable by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm gonna say pass on this one. Find it for $1 or $2, okay. If you like the art, okay, but it really wasn't worth $4 for me. I thought the storytelling was lacking. It's just mediocre, but that's just my opinion. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss future reviews. And if you want to help the channel grow, Patreon link is in the description and on the about page. It will help me get more comics to review and keep this show on the road. Thanks as always for listening, and we hope to see you on the next one.